Hey, what is up? Welcome to this episode of the Wantrepreneur to Entrepreneur podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brian Lofermento, and I would argue that if there's one thing from a marketing and branding perspective that every single business owner should be utilizing, it is video. Now, of course, I'm biased as a content creator myself, but I have seen firsthand the impact of showing up, sharing your message, sharing your voice, letting people see you, especially in the digital era that we're in. It becomes even more meaningful, and a lot of people are not only terrified of what it means to be on video, but they also convince themselves that, why would I be on video? My industry doesn't need video. Well, let me tell you about today's guest, because the more I checked into his work, first of all, he's incredibly talented. I'm so excited to learn from him, but what I really appreciate is whatever industry you want to talk about, whether it's legal or construction or financial or tech or politics, this guy has crafted incredible videos that elevate brands and just improve marketing in so many different ways. So let me introduce you to him. His name is Bobby Holbrook. Bobby is based in Houston, Texas, and he brings over 20 years of expertise in delivering visionary video projects and driving creative excellence. He's been honored as one of the top 50 global creatives, and he demonstrates exceptional leadership in managing diverse teams and harnessing cutting-edge technologies to produce high-quality content across various platforms. He's a versatile storyteller. You guys are going to love his energy that he brings to this conversation with meticulous attention to detail, and he excels in all facets of video production, earning prestigious accolades, including the American Advertising Federation's Producer of the Year Award, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4, not 5, but 6 times. And trust me, he's got the skills to back all this stuff up, so I'm not going to say anything else. I'm excited for all of us to learn from him today. Let's dive straight into my interview with Bobby Holbrook. All right, Bobby, I am so very excited that you're here with us today. First things first, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brian. That was an amazing intro, by the way.
Heck yeah. I'm not sure how many people will get the reference. I'm not sure if you got the reference, the not once, not twice, but 6 times. You know where that comes from?
Yes, that's hardware.
Good old throwback.
Good old throwback. Just a little hardware throughout the years.
Heck yeah. No, I love it, Bobby. Well, I'm excited. Obviously, I tooted your horn quite a bit. I could humble brag about you all day long, especially having seen the videos that you've been behind the camera for. But take us beyond the bio. Who's Bobby? How'd you start doing all these cool things?
Oh, man. This started, I was fortunate enough to grow up in this industry, marketing, branding, advertising, through my father's company. He started in 1977. So everything from being dropped off at the recording studio, because we had recording studios, and then jumped into video in 82. But sitting in sessions or sitting in each one of the departments, jump around the edit suite, go onto the grip trucks and tear down a Tweenie tungsten light, or jump into animation and graphics and just sit down with them throughout my life. I think that's really, really something that has helped catapult me into where I am now with the amount of experience throughout the multiple industries I like to accommodate.
Heck yeah. No, I do want to start there, to be honest. That's part of what gets me so excited about your business is all those different industries. Because Bobby, as the host of this show, I hear from entrepreneurs in all different sectors, all different types of business models, all different industries, and they convince themselves that, oh, my business is so different that these strategies I hear about on podcasts such as ours cannot possibly apply. Now, you've operated in some very exciting industries, but also I've seen some videos you've made in not exciting industries that get me excited about those brands and the visionaries behind those brands. Talk to us about that approach, because it seems to me like you're industry agnostic. You'll take anything and find the story in it.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite things about doing video for business particularly, is that let's just start with the message. Like, what are we trying to accomplish here? Are we going soft? Are we going hard? Is it a feel good? Is it a lifestyle? Is it fast? Is it slow? And once I understand the message, from that point, you got to be able to feel it, taste it, see it, hear it, everything. And that's what really gets me excited. And what I mean by hear it, taste it, feel it, like if it's medical, for instance, why am I choosing, if I'm seeing a certain shot, maybe we're going lifestyle, is it handheld, camera movements, gonna matter every time, no matter what. But camera movement, the music, A minor to B minor with the BPM difference is going to change the game on every piece of content that you create. So I love to start with music as well. It is a background of mine, but down to the lenses, for instance, medical being one of them. I know that Zeiss has a real, in their silica and their sand, when they composite the glass, they have a real blue and green tint on the back end. That usually comes off as a real clean look, but it's all those things put together, right? And then what are you going to do in post? What's the movement? What's the speed? What's the color grade? We're going low con, high con, and being able to see, hear, and feel all that throughout makes my job a lot easier, because all you have to do is tell me the message. Where are we going with the message? And what do we want the viewer to feel, hear, see, walk away from this video? That's, to me, the foundation of any video in any industry.
Bang. But that also showcases, I'm just going to use this word, but I use it in the best possible way, Bobby, your insane level of attention to detail, because you're even talking down to the actual glass that is used in the lenses. And I know that, you and I were geeking out about this stuff even before we hit record together today, but a lot of business owners and a lot of people in different industries, Bobby, they're 30,000 steps behind you in the fact that they're asking that broad question that you've already raised today of, what do I even want the message to be? Bobby's going to fill in all the details, and he's going to figure out what that's actually going to look like aesthetically. But of course, that's also an area that you bring so much value to the table of, how do we figure out what is that message we want to convey, and why is video that channel through which we can convey that message?
Fantastic. Absolutely. Video's the channel. It's the closest thing to being in person, if you ask me. And not just that, it's more than that, because you can show so many different time frames, so many different feelings, emotions, all tied up in a minute and a half, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 15 seconds. We're going 45-minute blops on Insta or TikTok or wherever that, or LinkedIn. That's why video is so important. You're able to get out to the viewer, your potential client, whoever it might be, exactly what you're trying to accomplish. And that's, at the end of it, once that's done, that's why video is so important. But once that's done, it's the payoff. And for me, that's why we keep doing it. I love doing it, right? To see a client grow from A to B to Z to E, elemental P, like that is so much fun. But part of it for me is the creation of it, right? Do we go with the warm glass? What's the tempo of this music and all that? But going back to why video is so important, it is the way we get our message out nowadays. It just is. It's an industry that I've seen over my lifetime just explode, really. And I'm excited just to be part of it. Really, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and it's crazy thinking the second biggest search engine in the world is YouTube. It's so safe to say these days that right. The number one way we are all consuming content these days is video, whether we're scrolling through TikTok, totally guilty, or we are watching in-depth YouTube videos from YouTube University, which seems to be where we all learn all the things these days. Video is that mechanism, and it's still mind-blowing to me as someone who's been an entrepreneur for 18 years, how few business owners are tapping into this. But part of it, Bobby, is I'm just going to put this out here in our conversation this early on. I find it's very difficult for a lot of business owners to figure out, what does 90 seconds of my best message sound like? And it really reminds me of that Abraham Lincoln quote where he said, if you want me to give a 5-hour speech, I'm ready to go right now. If you want me to give a 5-minute speech, I'm going to need 5 hours to prepare. And it's so much more difficult for us to be concise. When we're making a sales pitch, gosh, we can babble on as long as we want to, but getting that 90 seconds right, what the heck does that process look like with you, Bobby? Because I would imagine that you've done it so many times that you do have a process that others can follow. How do you make that happen for people?
Again, I'm gonna start with the message. What are we trying to accomplish? Do we want more sales? Do we need more leads coming in the top funnel? What are we looking for? Is this an image? There's so many different pillars in terms of messaging, right? Typically 5 that I like to play with, but I'll start with the messaging. Where do we want to go from there? And that's typically either brought in by the agency or the internal comm team of that, or the CEO or whoever that might be in that company. But we'll always start there. From there, we'll start creating looks, approaches. Okay, what's the brand guidelines? What's this brand all about? how are we going to approach this that fits the continuity of the brand? And after that, it's really the mind, the limit is the sky, because it's, we talk, obviously, where are we going? Do we want giraffes and helicopters involved with this production, or is it a 3-man slim crew? Right. I don't know. That's a great question, but that's where I start. And from there, it just kind of everything filters down. Also, where are we going? Are we going broadcast? Are we going YouTube? What's the post gamma got to be? What color sync are we going? So many different things in terms of technical, but in terms of messaging, that's really, and how you script it, how you approach it. It's going to come down to what our goal is. What do you want that viewer to walk away with? Again, what do you want that? And all the technical pieces are great to know in the back, having your back pocket, because I'm able to navigate that quickly in terms of what the look, the feel, the smell, again, the music, everything's going to be.
Yeah, it seems to me like so frequently in our conversation, so many of your answers come back to two important considerations. One is, what's your goal? I mean, we're not going to be successful if we don't even know what the goal is that we're aiming for. And then secondly, it's so clear to me, Bobby, how many of your answers come back to, what's your brand? Let's have it speak about how you are. This isn't the Bobby Holbrook show. This is you bringing their brand to life, which I think is really revealing about your approach, because all too often I think that we see kind of these very viral, funny, memorable videos. Like, I'll call out Dollar Shave Club, I think was one of the first ones that caught so many people's attention. And all these businesses thought that the secret behind that video was that it was funny, was that it had that shock and awe factor. And how many brands tried to copy that, and it didn't succeed, because not every brand is like a Dollar Shave Club. Talk to us about those differences, because it seems to me like you master and you take care of so many of those technical details, but it's only because you have that very deep and emotional understanding of the brands that you work with. How does that come about? Is it you ask them the right questions to get inside their heads, or that they bring something to the table that allows you to start to picture that? I'd love to get into that creative side of your mind, Bobby.
And that's a loaded question, and I'll tell you why. Because sometimes the idea is brought to the table. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just okay. The important part when coming together with, and if you would repeat that back end, because I'm trying to split. What are we trying to do again? I'm trying to, if you would, repeat your question for me. I'm going to write this down, because I can go so many different directions with this.
I know, and I know it's a totally loaded question. Talk to us about your ability to really get inside and figure out their brand, because a lot of listeners will be thinking, well, Bobby, I don't know how to express my brand to you. I hope you can do it. How do you do that? Because it does require that deep emotional understanding of a brand so that your creative mind can then bring it to life.
Well, it's about being invested. I completely understand that. One of the first things I do, and any client that we bring on and we partner with, is you've got to be invested. You're not coming in, we're going to knock out a few videos and buy, but I really dig into this, each and every company that partners up with us. And I think that, for me, plays everything. Genuinely invested in what they're doing and what they're trying to do is a separator, I believe. Because I've seen it all too often. Okay, well, let's just get this done, and this and that, and they'll just skim over what's the actual importance of it. And at the end of the edit, and they've posted out, and it's uploaded, and the whole nine, they're looking at it like, why didn't we get that emotion or that thing or that message we were trying to get across? Well, it starts with being invested. You have to be invested in every client that comes up. And for me, it's I'm kind of guilty of it, but being in so many different industries, it's what keeps it fun, Like, I want to get invested because I do want to learn more about manufacturing and sensor technology, and how the vibration then goes over to the AI, and the AI and then sends it over to the maintenance team at that. And that's just one industry. That's just manufacturing. But let's jump over to oil and gas, or medical, or tourism, which is okay. And once you're invested in it, you're able to craft. I believe I'm able to craft that emotion that ties to everything we're trying to accomplish. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does answer the question, but I also feel like it brings up another objective that I'm going to call you out for, because I know it's on the mind of so many listeners as they're tuning in, and that is
What's
the creative aspect, Bobby. And I know that so much of it is, fortunately for all of us, that's what you bring to the table, but a lot of people I also know get intimidated by the quality of your work. Your work is so good. You're creating all these world-class videos that people say, well, that's just not sustainable. Like, I can't always do that, which leads me, I'll be honest, here on the air, I've given the advice before of quantity over quality, is that the way to getting quality over time is you just got to be doing a ton of stuff. And obviously that's part of your journey as well. You've created so many videos at this point that you are world class at what you do, but not everybody's at that point. Where do you shake out the quality versus quantity for people who are saying your videos are so good, I can't compete with that? Like, there's no way that I should be creating video content for my business unless it's world class. Is that true, or is that a limiting belief on behalf of people?
It's definitely a limiting belief. You've got to start somewhere, and I've recognized this several years ago. Was not every this level of production quality and stuff like that will make people timid to even call or pick up the phone. But that was a good thing to say. Okay, what can we do? Well, let's see what we could do in terms of a retained package. So that's what I've created for several of my clients. Is called the video content partnership, and it's a monthly flat fee where you get a set a lot of production days, unlimited post-production, unlimited color grading, all that, as well as, rather than, you get unlimited amount of content created, but I also have a portal for you to log into. It's the Media Vault, where you and your entire team, everybody on the team, can then log in, one touch point for all media assets. So you're able to really recap and get that ROI out of every bit and piece of it. Because another thing that I've decided to do is, typically whenever you go to a production company, agency, you buy that video. That's what you get. You don't get any of the outtakes, all the extra footage that was caught, any of that. That's all left on the cutting room floor. And what we've done is I've said, look, you own it all. It's your investment. You get to keep that. And that is also repurposed throughout your entire strategy in terms of your comm strategy, whether it be on social, YouTube, and whatnot. So that return on investment's really high. You own the footage at the end of the day. Plus, I give you full access with AI generated, where you log in, you're like, oh, I'll need that picture of John, that still picture. Oh, what's that thing John did? He did something in that interview. John said caterpillar, right? Boom, comes up. So you're able to search it as well. Because at the end of the day, it's, A, you get better return on your investment, and B, it's really just trying to make your life easier. So that's one of the ways I've approached this and really helped change the game in terms of smaller companies coming in and saying, look, I want this quality, but I don't want I don't want this but I don't have that type of budget. And that's the walls I wanted to break down with all of this, with the video content partnership. And it has. I've gotten some great clients, 5 million a year, 3 million a year, 1 million a year, 10 million a year, clients that have come on board and really taken advantage of this, and their brand and their business has just skyrocketed. So
yeah, Bobby, this is the fun thing of having guests like you here on the air, is we're not just getting into your creative mind with the nature of the work that you do, but really what you're putting on display for us is also that strategic mind, that strong business acumen that you bring to the table as well, which in turn is, of course, an asset to the clients that you work with. But I want to go deeper there, because I feel like you're taking us behind the scenes. You're talking about post-production. You're talking about actually supplying the footage, which I will say, as someone who's been in the content world as long as I have, that is extraordinarily rare. And I think it's so cool how much you understand the value add that brings to your clients. For people who have never worked with a video production agency or a video production company, walk us through those offerings, and especially the production pipeline and timeline, because people don't even realize, where's the engagement start? Where does it end? How do you handhold me along the way? I'd love some of those behind the scenes insights.
Well, I've got a great team. You reach out to us, and we just get we get a conversation started immediately. In terms of this is how it works, right? We obviously, before I go on to the retained clients, listen, we do one offs as well. I love doing one off projects, and for those who don't know, that's just, hey, look, I just need one video. Okay, we got you. But really, it's about once we get them in there, and we get on board. We have a meeting, and I find out the goals and whatnot. And if I'm going off kilter, let me know. Please stop me. But the process is just that: bring them on board, invest, figure out the messaging. You go technically. You go in terms of look, feel, movement, music. How that all happens. What are the things they need? And also, what are the verticals too, by the way? Are we just doing a kind of an image, just get the name, we're doing top of mind? Or do we need some how-tos, or do we need this or that? So once you figure all that out and you lay out that strategy, then we start setting production days. And in-house producers take care of all of that for you. You could be as hands-on or as hands-off as you'd like. Once all the capture, we go out for our production days, and I'll typically bring 3 to 5 people for a VCP. And we'll capture as much, absolutely, for everything that we need to cover on our deliverables list for the messages that we're trying to get. After that, it goes into post, and everything. We pull all the selects for all the talking heads and interviews, all the B-roll, then goes into color grade. Sound sweetening then happens. After that, we'll then bring it into the media vault immediately, and then give you access to a lot of that raw footage. From there, we'll then go back and we'll start editing each individual message that we're trying to approach, whether it be an overview, testimonials from clients, how to's, how not to's, customer service, culture, recruiting, team growth, all those different things that can really play into your web presence, as well as all your social content and whatnot. And then everything from there is then exported again out from, I'd like to use DaVinci. We use a lot of DaVinci, have for the last, 15 years. But we'll export out all the final assets, upload those to the cloud, and now you and your team have full access to all of that all the time.
Yeah, Bobby, I want to hone in on the production stuff, because I would imagine a lot of listeners are saying, production day, am I going to feel like a movie star? And here, Bobby, I know so many people, especially business owners, they're so passionate about what they do, but for one reason or another, when there's a camera lens in front of them and a microphone, they freeze and they're no longer them. What does that look like? I would imagine that's a big objection that a lot of people have when it comes to actually filming is, how am I going to be me? And then I'm going to load one more thing onto this question for you about scripting. How scripted is it? Is it something that literally word by word, I mean, they're trying to be Tom Cruise and memorize these scripts along the way? Or is it bullet points? Is it a vision that you have for it? Or do you just get them babbling and then your team makes sense of it in post-production? How do you handle making them comfortable on production day?
Oh, great question, man. I have pulled a doctor out of an elevator. She was so basic panic attack. So I've seen it swing both ways, but it just starts with the conversation. In terms of sitting down, getting comfortable, and just leave that up to us. That's really what it comes down to, because it's just about being comfortable, just having a conversation. I don't give them scripted things, because it comes off like this, and if I forget something, then it's gonna mess me up, and I'll have to start. None of that's usually scripted. It's just bullet points. Hey, look, we're going to talk about this, possibly this, and this. Like, we've got plenty of media. We can start and stop as you want. The only rule I have is that nobody's going to hear my question at home. So please just inject my question into your answer. So when I have, when I ask what color's the sky, rather than just say blue, well, the color of the sky is blue. There's not too much pressure, right? Because I'm going to end up taking 45 minutes of that entire interview, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, however long the talking head interview is. And I'm going to use 20, 30, 40 seconds in it per video. But it's talking to them, particularly, you'll know the first 30 seconds to 60 seconds how somebody's going to act or respond, particularly when they see the red tally light, which is another thing. You take off the red tally light, or you cover it with gaff tape, black tape. Typically a good piece of advice. But over the years, I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things. That's you'll know immediately. Shaking hands, 60 seconds in. that, okay, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a tough one. It's okay. All right, let's take this approach with it. And it's just softening up. It's becoming human. Why can't we just talk? Right? So
Yeah,
that's my approach in terms of the interviewing.
Bobby, I'll share this. I'm sure you've seen every trick in the book, but I moved to Tampa from Los Angeles. So I lived in LA for quite some time. And just walking around the streets of LA, you naturally see production. And me, as someone who's always curious and naturally extroverted, I always want to see and learn from these productions. And so I've seen so many sound guys that when they're working with the talent, they'll ask them, hey, what did you have for breakfast this morning? And the talent will just start talking about what they have for breakfast. Little do they realize that's helping them to set up the audio, but it's also just loosening them up to start getting their vocal cords going and get their mind working. And it's cool to see that it's those tricks of the trade. You even talk about eliminating that light there, so people aren't thinking about that. It's these things that for a lot of listeners, I'm excited for them to get this close level of interaction with you today, because like I said, it feels like you're peeling back that curtain in a world that none of us have ever seen behind the scenes of. I do want to switch gears though a little bit, because I knew that time would fly by with you today, and I'm so curious to personally hear your view of the future, because a lot of people are freaking out about AI, and AI can clone our voices, Bobby. AI can create videos these days. I'm of the big belief, especially as a podcaster, that bring on AI, because it's actually going to make me as a person stand out more, because more and more people are just going to lean on AI. They're going to think that AI is the answer here, but it's really going to make us crave more of real life humans. What's your take on the future? When you look at your business, when you look at the industry at large, when you look at where we're going societally, where's your mind go with regards to the future?
AI for me, as I've already started using an entire post pipeline. So AI for me, AI is the connector. It's that separator. It brings production levels up. It's the tendons that connect the muscles and stuff like that. That's how I look at it in AI. It's extremely useful. Will it take our jobs? I don't believe so. I don't think that's possible. But can it help our jobs, speed up our jobs? Absolutely. And it already started, and I've already started implementing in all of our post pipeline. It's fantastic. It's just having the ability to say, look, this isn't trying to take my job. How can I utilize this? Right? How can I utilize this to our benefit, my client's benefit, and really help build the production value and raise the production value even more in post-production than I could before? Oh, okay, well, here are a couple things. Let's do this. We'll do this 3D wraparound animation from a still that you pulled from a frame that then it comes back in, and you're able to retime. I mean, there's so many different things. Retime map that, and now you've got a transition that you've never seen before, they've never seen before. It's just really cool. You throw some sound design on that, and it's just like, wow, this is great. Had I tried to do something like that 3 years ago, 5 years ago, it would have taken, oh gosh, days, without a doubt. Just the rendering alone would have been hours. But it's the ability to create faster, quicker, cooler, and really help with the production value. So I'm all about AI and bringing it on. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. That said, it's so clear to me that you are always evolving, which I think is so cool. Someone in your space that has reached such a high pinnacle in your career, you're still learning, Bobby. You're still digging in. You're still doing all of those things. Talk to me about that mindset, because to me, as someone who has seen your work, and I'm excited to drop your links in just a few minutes, but before we get there, I've seen your work. Bobby, there's all the reasons in the world that you can rest on how good you are at all the things that you do. Please enlighten listeners about that ever-evolving entrepreneurial mindset that you clearly embrace.
Oh, goodness gracious. Thank you. Thank you for the compliments. I really appreciate that. Evolving is part of everything I do. I mean, why stop? Why stop somewhere? Why say that's good enough? And that keeps me going. I've got chills right now, but it keeps you going. Why stop somewhere? There's always constant evolving. You really love what you do. It's part of my life. Like literally, I love it. So at night, literally, I have every morning, every evening, I have it's just built in. I'm on my phone real quick, doing a quick research, whether it's midday or something like that. But I'm constantly staying on top of things and evolving. And how can that play? How can that connect to that and then do that? That right there. That's, I guess, strategizing, if you would. When technology comes, is fun. And look, we are in a huge transition right now. huge transition with the with AI on board now, post-production. It's amazing. So let's embrace it. And that's, if you're not evolving, you're dying. It just is. I know you've probably heard that before, but it sticks, and it sticks with me. I'm able to, resonates well with me. And heck, I love what I do. So why not?
Yeah, Bobby, I'll tell you this, as someone on the other side of the microphone from you today, your passion, the fact that you actually love this stuff, it really shines through in so much of it. And I think that so much of that, we need to remind ourselves in our entrepreneurial journeys, you've inevitably had ups and downs along your career as well. It's not always smooth sailing, but so I love that quote of the smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. And it's so cool to see that part of your answer that you just revealed to us is, it sounds to me like even if you just casually and informally open social media up and you see something new, you're leveraging even those moments as learning opportunities. So it's so cool to see how much you embrace that. I'm also very excited to see how you answer this last question, because it's super broad and I ask it of every single guest. And that is, what's your best piece of advice for listeners? Knowing that we're being listened to by both entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs at all different stages of their own growth journeys, and also knowing that you are one of us, you're a fellow entrepreneur that we got to learn from your strategic mind today as well. What's that piece of advice you want to leave them with today?
Super broad, love it, but here we go. I would say kick the noise out, leave the noise out, set expectations, know your own expectations, know your worth, know that you can do it, don't give up. Granted, I didn't gracefully give that to you, but listen, that's really what it comes down to for me. It works for me. Keep the noise out. Manage expectations. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, there's going to be lows, highs, everything in between. Understand that. That's part of it. It's not, doggone it, it didn't work out just like they show me on YouTube. Well, it's not going to. So just manage your expectations and get back up and do it again. And do it again. And do it again. It's going to pay off. Because you'll never know if you give up. And that, a lot of people unfortunately don't know that, because they gave up. But manage your expectations, leave the noise, and kick the noise out, and be a good person while you do it. There's nothing wrong with integrity and morals and everything in business, and that's a big part of how, I lay my head down at night and I know we did the right thing today, every day, all day. Now let's get up and do it again, So, those are the things. There's going to be scary times. There's going to be hard times. Just keep it going. So
yes, Bobby, I'll tell you what, in over 1,200 episodes, I've obviously heard so many different answers to that very question, but I don't think I've ever heard anyone call that out as directly as you have about managing expectations. That's the cool thing. We're already telling people there's going to be ups and downs. We're already telling people that we're going to have to trudge through, sometimes dig in, celebrate the successes, get over the failures, but all of that, we know it's going to happen. It's a mindset game. And I've seen that so much, and so much of your attitude, the way you've shown up here today, is you just accept the fact that, really all that's going to happen is how I manage it in here is how it's going to come out into the world. And that's so powerful, whether we're creating videos, whether we're working on our businesses, or heck, even if we're just working from a personal development side. So Bobby, I always tell listeners, and I invite them to check out our guests' websites, because I'm so excited for them to see it. Podcasting is not the most visual platform in the world. Most people are only listening to the audio only format. And that's why I'm mandating for listeners today to check out your website, because like I said, you have a whole highlight reel by industry. Listeners, I don't care what industry you're in. Bobby has made videos in there and he's showcasing all of his world-class work. So Bobby, for listeners who want to go deeper into all the great stuff that you're doing, drop those links on us. Where should listeners go from here?
Check us out at bobbyholbrook.com. Easy enough. Yep. And you can contact us through the website. Just hit us up.
Heck yeah. You've got, I love the words in the button in the top right of your website. It doesn't say contact us. It says, let's talk video. To me, that is such a cool call to action, because clearly you love this stuff, Bobby. And I'm so excited for listeners to go to bobbyholbrook.com. Obviously, you'll find Bobby's name, the spelling, in the title of today's episode, but you don't have to remember that. Click right on through. We're dropping that link down below in the show notes, no matter where it is that you're tuning into today's episode. So Bobby, on behalf of myself and all the listeners worldwide, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Brian.